Hello to the guests and subscribers of our channel Life in Turkey. My name is Sergey Volchenkov and the topic for today's video is real estate in Turkey and Aidat. What even is it and how do you pay for it? Today, we will teach you a lot about this monthly residential complex maintenance fee. Aidat is a monthly complex maintenance fee, the amount of which is determined by the tenants of the building at one of their meetings. The higher the quality of the residential complex, the more services it requires, and the higher the price of the Aidat will be. So what expenses are usually covered by the Aidat? These are electricity bills for the common areas, elevator maintenance fee, swimming pool maintenance fee, cleaning of the common areas, gardening and other greenery expenses, covering staff costs like salaries for gardeners, security, managing director, costs of small repairs in the complex, and also bills for shared telecommunication services. There are a couple of things tenants must do when they first move into a brand new residential complex. One of these is the tenants meeting, of which every resident must be informed of at least 2 weeks in advance. The first meeting is deemed legitimate if at least 50% of the property owners or their official representatives are present. In case that there are less than 50% of the owners present, the meeting is postponed until 10 days later. This time, it does not matter how many of them show up, and any decisions can be made during the second meeting regardless. At this meeting, a managing person must be elected and they will be responsible for maintaining the building complex. It can either be one of the property owners in that residential complex or sometimes a separate managing company is brought in to do it instead. All of the important decisions regarding the building complex are made at these meetings. How much the Aidat should be, how many days a year the swimming pool will be open for use, will the building get any central gas heating installed, deciding on whether or not the tenants are allowed to glass their balconies, and any other queries. All of these absolutely must be written down in a special notebook that has been certified by the notary prior to this. This way, any decisions made at the meeting are considered legitimate and mandatory for all residents. For example, if the majority of attendees has voted to collect an extra 400 liras in order to install gas heating in the building complex, all residents must obey with this ruling. You cannot use your absence at the meeting or your absence from Turkey as an excuse to avoid paying these. You, along with other residents, must comply with anything written in that notebook. Many large residential complexes usually have a special worker in the building called kapıcı in Turkish, which translates to doorman, but it's something closer to a caretaker in this case. They oversee the building's cleaning, gardening, garbage disposal, small repairs, and things like that. It is required by law that any residential complex with 40 or more apartments must absolutely have a spare apartment for the kapıcı. If the kapıcı ends up living in this apartment, the complex pays for their utility bills like water and electricity, and of course, their salary. In many buildings, the tenants decide that in order to save money, they rent out the apartment that was originally dedicated for the kapıcı, and the money from that is spent on maintaining the building and any other expenses. As is made clear from everything said thus far, the sum of the Aidat depends directly on what services the tenants wish to receive, their quality, and how frequently they want them at the residential complex. There are buildings with a hotel-like infrastructure where the Aidat is large, hundreds of liras, and there are also simple complexes with just the basic services and subsequently a small Aidat of about 30 to 50 liras. Aside from the monthly Aidat, you might also have to pay an additional Aidat sometimes, called the Demirbaş Aidat or a dues payment. In Turkey, dues are collected in case there are any additional work that has to be done in the building. For example, purchasing sun loungers for the pool, equipping and maintaining the kids' playground, repainting the house, etc. Unlike Aidat, that must be paid by the property owner or the tenant, the dues are paid only by the property owner. And you should also know that if paying for these through your bank, you are required by law to pay for the regular Aidat and the Demirbash Aidat from different accounts. If you own a detached house or a villa, are you still required to pay the Aidat? No. In this case, you do not have to pay for the Aidat. However, bear in mind that the responsibility of maintaining your property falls solely on your shoulders. Before purchasing property in Turkey, you should always ask to see what the Aidat is for the property, because you will always be required to pay it, regardless of whether you live in Turkey in this apartment or not. What happens if you do not pay the Aidat on time? According to ownership laws in Turkey, in case of a delayed payment, the managing company has the right to impose a penalty of 5% of the sum in the addition of the Aidat. What happens if you do not pay the Aidat for a long time? What are the repercussions? Most of the time, if you fail to pay for the Aidat for over 3 months, in Turkey, the managing company has every right to take your case to court and begin the payment collection process through the court. In case that you do not pay the fees even after the court order, the worst case scenario is that the judge can order for your property to be sold against your will and the money used to pay for the outstanding sum. How do you pay for the Aidat? You can do it in 2 ways. The first is that you can pay it in cash with the receipt from the building manager. Always make sure that the receipt is signed by the manager and not the kapıcı, the caretaker, because this can save you a lot of trouble or discomfort in the future. The second and the most secure way to do it is through your bank account to the managing company's account. This payment can be made to the managing company in Turkish liras, to their Turkish lira account, or it can also be made in whatever currency you hold your money in outside of Turkey if they have a corresponding currency account. When making that payment, make sure to indicate the purpose of this report in either Turkish or English, and always use the payment reference section to write in your apartment or villa number and your name and last name in case somebody else is paying for your Aidat. It is also important to not send the money to the manager's personal account or their friends and families. All payments must be made into the managing company's official accounts. You can find more information on our channel about how managing companies operate, who can become the manager, and how to properly manage a residential complex. Subscribe to our channel, ask away any questions you might have in the comments below, and leave your suggestions for future videos. We will definitely film those. My name is Sergey Volchenkov, channel Life in Turkey, from our company Tolerant.
Subscribe to our channel and get the best professional advice.